All right, let's see how it broke down. Game 6 at altitude. Thunder and Nuggets. OKC trying to close this thing down. Jokic and Murray not going to let that happen. Murray, again, questionable with the illness, but he played and played really well.
That's pretty.
MJ, flu game, maybe not, but a really nice game. 25 points, pretty stout from Jamal Murray. Later in the first with the Nuggets up 10. The turnover. Thunder's so good at cashing at the other end. Casey Wallace beats everyone down floor. And then Russell Westbrook, another turnover. Again, we push. This time it's Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams with the crunch. Murray soaking it up over there. So OKC closes out the first quarter on an 8-1 run, and then they keep it going in quarter 2. SGA for 3. Thunder up by 8. And then big play here. SGA gets stripped by Jokic and frustration foul. That's 4 on Gilgeous-Alexander. First time with 4 fouls in the first half in his postseason career. And then the Nuggets finish the half on a roll. Murray lays it in. Next Nuggets possession, Christian Brown. He was huge. He had 23. So it was the Thunder 3-point lead at halftime. Third quarter. SGA tries it. No. Chet Holmgren. No. Jokic with the block. And now it's Denver running. And Murray at the other end. Nuggets by 5. Then, kind of a cult hero tonight, Julian Strawther, as Nicole mentioned, had 17 points in the entire postseason before tonight, but came in with 15 points on the night, all in the second half. Look at that, just catch, turn, and put it on in. Nuggets up 8 heading into the fourth. In that fourth quarter, Jokic, first 3 he took all night, and he knocks it down. Nuggets up by 12. It's winning time. Jokic floats it home. 29 points, 14 rebounds for the big fella. Also had 8 assists, and this is a pretty dime right here. Not looking, slings it to Brown inside. Jokic and Murray, each with 20 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists in the same game for the 20th time in the postseason. And Denver celebrates a Game 6 victory. 119-107, the final. We get more basketball out of this series Sunday back in Oklahoma. All right, so take a look. The first 2 series of the postseason went 7 games in the last 15 years. Yeah, the Nuggets are working to survive and advance in this postseason. Clippers series, that was a brutal 7-game set, and here they are back in a 7th game against the Thunder in what has been a highly entertaining series.
Congratulations on this one, Nicole. The fourth quarter was huge. How did you guys get it done?
I mean, it was a collective effort. I think I think our defense was supposed to be, I think holding that. I think the whole series. I think we are holding that team when we were around 100, 105, 110 points. I think that's really good for us. Except the first game, they scored 150, whatever. So it was an interesting game, and I'm just glad that we won it.
Not just this series, but the entire playoff run. It's been fun seeing who on your team has stepped up in the big moments. You had Jamal Murray tonight playing his own version of the flu game, and then you had Julian Strawther in the fourth. 17 points in the entire postseason. The man dropped 15 in this game alone. What do you say about those 2 performances tonight?
I mean, Julian was big for us. Of course, he made big shots. He had a really big, like on the 45. He had a big 3. He was attacking the ball. He had a couple of big rebounds at the end. So I mean, he didn't play basically the whole series, but he stayed ready. He stepped up in the big moment.
The first 6 games no longer matter. You just got 1 more to go. Sunday, we'll see if OKC can be as loud as it was in Denver tonight, but how do you get it done on Sunday?
I mean, same thing, collective effort. We have been there. It's an interesting game. It's a game 7, and you just go out there and play your best of your capabilities and hope for the best.
Thank you for your time. Rest up. We'll see you Sunday.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
The Nuggets, they're facing elimination, and they dig deep, and they force a Game 7. On the whole, what impressed you the most about that win?
Well, one, they got physical. They got physical all across the board. Jokic and Murray, and shout out to Murray for playing through his illness, but it was the others, right? You know role players play better at home. Christian Braun and Strawther with some dogs out there. right? Not just the points that they scored, the second efforts defensively and offensively, attacking the offensive glass. We saw a different Denver Nuggets team who, coming into this postseason, was one of the worst defensive teams. All of a sudden, we saw them dig deep on that home court. And Jokic is going to be Jokic. But again, it was the physicality, a brawl for it all. But let me say this. We can't frame it up any better. Game 7, MVP candidate versus MVP candidate. OKC is going to be rocking. I expect a brawl for it all.
Okay, so that being said, on Sunday, the Nuggets, they've pushed the Thunder this far, the top seed in the NBA. What chance do you give Denver of pulling off the upset on the road, beating the top seed at their place in Game 7?
Well, I give them about 40% chance.
We got 40.
Yeah, 40% chance just because they have Jokic, and he's capable of going for a 50-point or 60-point triple-double. I believe Oklahoma City wins this series in 7 games. I think all the young guys, they're going to feed off the energy of that crowd, that arena. I played in that arena. I know how electrifying it could be. And I just think that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to strap up defensively. Again, we go back to the point that I made and the term we hear all the time. Role players play better at home. So I expect Cason Wallace, Luke Dortz, I expect those guys to elevate their game, bring a certain type of tenacity and energy. It's going to be hyped up in there. To be honest with you, OKC is probably going to punch first. I believe it's going to be a 10-point win for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay.
It's hard to win in that arena.
You said 40% chance of the Nuggets winning, so that makes 60% chance of Thunder on Sunday in the Oklahoma City area. And meteorology, too, right? I've got the weather down as well. Hey, Perk, just when you talk about a Game 7, we have seen teams at home that have had a huge advantage in Game 7s, but this Thunder team is the youngest team in the NBA. They're facing the nucleus of a Nuggets team that won the title a couple of years back. How does that factor into this game on Sunday?
Well, you never want to disrespect championship experience, right? But also you're dealing with a team that don't know no better, right? And that's the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? It's just going to be another game for them. They're going to keep their identity. The one thing we know about this team, especially at home, they're going to get scrappy, right? They're going to hang their hats on the defensive side of things. We expect this young ball club to come in with a certain level of physicality. They have a championship leader in the locker room, Alex Caruso, who's going to make sure he delivers the right message for us in the locker room tonight to be prepared. And here's the thing. Game 7s, if you give a damn, it's stressful as hell. They don't play again till Sunday. So I expect guys to lose sleep. I expect guys to be stressed the hell out because that's part of the playoffs, especially when you're trying to go and actually go get it done of actually winning the championship or even advancing to the next round to get to the conference finals. It's supposed to be stressful. It's supposed to be hard. But I think this OKC team is going to rise to the occasion solely because they're going to feed off the energy of that crowd in Oklahoma City.
Hey, I just want to go back to Jamal Murray for a second, get your thoughts on that. The guy wakes up this morning, feels terrible. He's sick. He plays, and he plays really well. Have you ever been in a situation like that? How does that factor into how somebody performs, especially in an important game, an elimination game like tonight?
Well, look, I don't get sick often, you know what I mean? I take very good care of myself.
Drink
That's
a lot
the
of
first
soda
thing,
out there,
okay?
I know that.
But I do, Dr. Peppers, I love them. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, right? Check this out. I have been in that situation. I wasn't sick, but I was playing through a groin tear. And I played through it the entire postseason, and it was just hell. But listen, a lot of guys, when you talk to a lot of former players, they have regrets. A lot of guys wish they could have played on a team in their career that had a real legit chance of winning the NBA championship or being a title contender. when you have a roster and you have an opportunity to actually go and compete for a title, you want no regrets, and you're willing to play through it all. So again, I understand Jamal Murray was, feeling under the weather, but kudos to him because he came in, set the tone in that first quarter, and he came in and delivered in great fashion because he's been struggling over the last 3 games, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think Julian's going to get credit for scoring 15 points. I thought he held water defensively, too. That was a big deal. You want to keep an offensive player out there, but they have to be able to handle their own on the other end, and he did. We didn't have to change schematically, defensively, because he sat down, moved his feet, and guarded. And then, obviously, him being able to stay out there because of that, 15 points in 19 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's funny thinking about Game 5 and Game 4. Game 4, their role players make threes. Game 5, Dort makes threes. Tonight, we had a guy step up, make some shots, and then our main people were so complimentary. And obviously in the fourth quarter, to win that quarter after what's happened the last 2 games, says a lot about our guys and the fact that they can bounce back from anything. And I keep saying that. So, I don't know. We just keep finding a way. We'll go play another Game 7.
Coach, another game where you have an 8-point lead going to the fourth quarter,
Yep.
and this time, and you talked pregame about getting time to rest Jamal, and you did rest Jokic as opposed to last game. Can you just take us through the thought process of why you sort of changed things up and how that worked for you?
Well, it's going to be one or the other. Like I said, last game I kind of kicked myself for not taking one of them out. And Nicole seemed, body language-wise, like he wanted to sit for a second. The beautiful thing was I had 4 timeouts again. I know it didn't work out last game, but that does let you control your substitutions. And those guys held water, to start that quarter. So this was an incredible team win. Small thing, I know Michael's been struggling. Mike made it 2 early threes. It kind of loosens up the floor a little bit. It allows you to play in space much easier for Jamal and Nikola. And then obviously Julian in the second half. So you had 2 guys make impactful threes where you're allowed to play the way we want to play offensively. And outside of the end where we turned it over, I thought we took care of it pretty well throughout.
What did you see from your guys?
Thunder unable to get the win, but they do get to go home for Game 7. New on SportsCenter, their head coach.
Storm the way we did and only be down 3 at the end of the first quarter was positive. We obviously took control of the game in the second, which was positive, and then they just outplayed us in the second half. They were sharper, executed better, made more plays. So, credit them. They went and got the game.
Mark, how relevant did you feel the close to the first half was at all to what happened in the second half?
Say that again.
Relevant did you feel the close to the first half was to what it all transpired in the second half?
We didn't close the first half great, but, when halftime ends, you get 24 minutes to go play your best regardless of what just happened. So, we had that opportunity, so did they. They outplayed us in the second half.
And I believe Shea, Hardenstein, and Jay Will all got their third foul, like, almost in succession. Like, what did you feel changed when that happened, and do you feel that sort of had a larger impact on the way things played out in the game?
It obviously impacted substitutions, trying to manage that a little bit, which isn't out of the ordinary. They all ended, without fouling out, so they were able to manage it in the game. I was a little bit conscious of it, obviously, at the end of the first to get Shea there with 4. But otherwise, again, we had the same opportunity Denver did in the second half, and they outplayed us.
Perk, give me a key for each team in Game 7.
The key is for the Thunder is who's going to be that second guy, right? And I'm looking at Jalen Williams. I'm talking about J-Dub because it's 2 of them. What is he going to do? We know SGA is going to rise to the occasion. He's going to walk out of that Game 7 with 30-plus points. But, like, you look at tonight, I believe it was, Jalen Williams shot 3 for 16 from the field. That can't happen, right? You need your Robin to be able to step up. And that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at Game 7 for Oklahoma City. For the Nuggets is, can your role players produce on the road? Christian Brown had an excellent night tonight, was huge. You had the young fella Strada come in off the bench. He was huge. We know role players play better at home, but can they carry over and can they compete and play at that level on the road? And also, I said this before the game started, I still believe, and even going into Game 7, the X factor in this series is Aaron Gordon. 2 of the games that the Denver Nuggets has won, he scored over 20 points, and they won. And I just think, when he's on, the Nuggets are hard to beat with him in the combination of Jokic. So I'm keeping an eye on Aaron Gordon for the Denver Nuggets, and I'm also keeping an eye out on Jalen Williams to see if Robin is going to support his Batman in SGA at the crib in Game 7 when it matters the most.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.